There's a trap many men fall into, the endless chase. The more you pursue, the farther she seems to run. You text, you call, you try harder, hoping that if you just show enough attention, enough desire, she'll finally give you the love and validation you crave. But it never works the way you want. You're left feeling confused, frustrated, even desperate. And deep down, you start to ask yourself, why does it seem like the more I chase, the more I lose her? Here's the truth. Chasing her like that pushes her away. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. This is a hard pill to swallow because it goes against everything society has told us about relationships. We're wired to want what we can't have, to seek approval, to prove our worth by how much we're desired. But Neil Strauss, one of the greatest relationship experts and authors, revealed a counterintuitive secret. When you stop chasing, when you let go of that desperate need to control her feelings or actions, that's when she comes running back. Not because you became someone else, but because you became the kind of man who isn't afraid to stand in his own power, who respects himself enough to walk away. It's not about playing games or manipulation. It's about understanding the invisible dance of attraction that happens beneath the surface, in the subtle shifts of energy and confidence. When you chase, you signal neediness and insecurity, two things that repel attraction. When you step back, you regain your mystery and self-respect, two qualities that are incredibly magnetic. Think about the last time you truly wanted something and it felt just out of reach. Maybe it was a promotion, a dream project, or a personal goal. If you chased it obsessively, did it come easily? Or did your desperation make you miss the natural flow? Often, success in life and love happens not when you push harder, but when you create space for it to come to you. But there's more to it than just stepping back. Neil Strauss talks about a critical window, the moment when a woman's feelings shift, when her mind starts to wonder what life would be like without you. It's not about punishing her or making her jealous. It's about creating an absence that lets her feel your value. When you're always there, always available, she takes it for granted. When you're gone, the reality of what she's missing hits her. That's when she starts running back. And here's why that happens. Attraction thrives on uncertainty and emotional tension. When everything feels predictable, comfortable, and safe, the spark fades. But when you create a little space, a little unpredictability, her subconscious starts to question, what if I lose him? What if this is it? In those moments, her feelings can intensify, and if you've built a foundation of genuine connection, respect, and confidence, she'll want to come back. Not because you chased her, but because you showed you're a man with a life and boundaries. Now let me be clear. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you recalibrate your mindset from chasing validation to building your own worth. Neil Strauss emphasizes that the most attractive men are those who live with purpose, who have passions, goals, and a circle of friends and interests that make their lives full and exciting. When you live this way, you stop measuring your value by her attention. Instead, you become a prize, someone worth pursuing, not someone begging to be chosen. So if you find yourself stuck in the chase, constantly checking your phone, replaying conversations in your head, or wondering why she's distant, here's your first step. Stop chasing. Step back. Focus on your own growth and happiness. This doesn't mean you ignore her or pretend you don't care. It means you stop putting your emotional power in her hands. Because when you do, you reclaim your confidence, your energy, and your freedom. And that's when the magic starts to happen. You might be wondering, but what if she doesn't come back? What if stepping away just means losing her forever? That fear is natural. We fear loss more than anything because it threatens our sense of security and identity. But here's the thing. If she's truly meant to be in your life, if the connection between you is real, then creating that space won't push her away. It will give her the chance to realize what she's been missing. When you chase someone, you're chasing their attention, their approval. You're essentially handing over your power to them, and people naturally resist having power over them. It's like pulling on a rubber band. The more you pull, the more it fights back. But when you release that rubber band, it snaps right back, often with more force. Neil Strauss teaches that attraction is not just about what you say or do, it's about how you make her feel when you're not around. If you're constantly available, she feels comfortable, but not necessarily excited. But if you become scarce in a way that feels natural and confident, if you show you have a life beyond her, then she feels a new kind of tension, a curiosity, a longing. This is where many men go wrong. They think absence means ignoring or punishing. But it's not about games or manipulation. It's about living your life fully, not around her, but alongside her. It's about being so engaged with your passions, your goals, your growth, that your presence becomes something she looks forward to, not something she takes for granted. And here's a secret most guys don't know. Women have a radar for neediness. When you chase, you broadcast neediness loud and clear, and that kills attraction. But when you live with confidence, with a sense of your own value that doesn't depend on her, you flip that radar. You become the prize, the challenge, the mystery. Think about it like this. What's more exciting? Someone who's always chasing after you, or someone who has a full, exciting life and simply lets you be a part of it if you want? Which one makes you feel more alive? The answer is obvious, and this is why the chase has to stop. Because when you stop, you give her the space to miss you, to wonder, to feel the pull that comes from uncertainty. It's like a dance. When one person pulls back, the other moves forward. And when you're always running after her, you're not leading the dance, you're just following. But by stepping back, by focusing on your own life, you take the lead, you set the rhythm. And that's irresistibly attractive. Now you might still be thinking, okay, but how do I actually do this? How do I stop chasing without just disappearing or being cold? The answer lies in mindset and action. First, you have to shift your focus from her to yourself. This means investing time and energy in things that make you feel alive, confident, and fulfilled. Whether it's your career, your hobbies, your friends, or your fitness, whatever makes you feel good about yourself. Second, you have to communicate with clear boundaries. If she texts you constantly or expects your attention on demand, you don't have to respond immediately every time. You can reply when it feels natural and authentic to you, not because you feel pressured. Third, you cultivate an attitude of abundance. You believe that your worth is not tied to any one person, that there are many opportunities and connections waiting for you. This abundance mindset makes you less desperate and more magnetic. Neil Strauss calls this the difference between scarcity and abundance. Scarcity screams, I need you to like me or I'm nothing. Abundance says, I have my own life, my own worth, and I'm open to connection, but I don't need it to survive. When you embody abundance, you stop chasing and start attracting. You become someone who naturally draws others in, not by trying harder, but by being more authentic, more grounded, more powerful. And here's the kicker. When you live this way, not only does she come running back, but you also create space for better relationships, ones that honor you, your time, and your value. No more exhausting chases after someone who doesn't fully appreciate you. No more games or pretending. Just real connection built on respect and mutual desire. Now, here's something many guys don't realize. Attraction isn't just about grand gestures or smooth lines. It's mostly about how you carry yourself when you're not around her. It's about your internal world and the energy you project. Neil Strauss emphasizes that confidence is an inside job. You can't fake it forever, and trying to control her feelings through chasing only chips away at your authenticity. When you stop chasing, you start living your truth. You invest in your passions, your friendships, and your personal growth. This creates a powerful shift that she can feel, even if she's not consciously aware of it, because people are wired to pick up on subtle cues, the way you hold yourself, the tone of your voice, your energy. And that's where the real power lies. It's not in the words you say, but in the man you become. Let me share a story Neil Strauss tells in his book. He met a guy who was constantly texting a woman he liked, every hour, sometimes more. The woman started to pull away, overwhelmed by his neediness. Then one day, this guy stopped texting for days. He focused on himself, went out with friends, pursued his interests, and didn't worry about her. The interesting part? The woman noticed the change almost immediately. She started wondering what he was up to, why he wasn't around so much. That uncertainty sparked attraction. Soon after, she reached out, curious, intrigued, and wanting to reconnect. This is exactly what happens when you stop chasing and start living your own life. You don't have to do anything fancy, you just have to stop giving away your emotional power. Here's another key insight from Neil Strauss. Women don't just want confidence, they want emotional strength. That means you don't collapse when things get tough, you don't beg for attention, and you don't sacrifice your dignity just to keep her around. Emotional strength comes from self-respect. It means you set standards for how you're treated and don't accept less. It means if she's not giving you the respect and attention you deserve, you're willing to walk away. That might sound harsh, but it's actually the most attractive quality you can have. Because it shows you value yourself, and that's irresistible. On the other hand, chasing sends the opposite message, that you don't believe you're worth more, that you're willing to settle for crumbs of attention, and that your happiness depends on her. You have to break free from that cycle. This is where most guys get stuck. They think that if they just try harder, send more messages, or do more favors, she'll finally notice. But the harder you push, the more you scare her off. The trick is to flip the script. Instead of trying to make her want you, you focus on becoming the kind of man who is worth wanting. Neil Strauss points out that attraction is about creating a magnetic pull, not a desperate reach. It's about being a man who has options, who is fulfilled in life, and who treats himself with kindness and respect. When you do that, you send a powerful signal, I am enough. And that signal is far more attractive than any clever text or elaborate plan. So what do you do in practice? You start by giving yourself space. That might mean not texting back immediately. That might mean saying no to plans that don't excite you. That might mean spending more time on your goals and less time worrying about what she's thinking. You also start paying attention to how she treats you. Does she make time for you? Does she respect your boundaries? Or is she only around when it's convenient for her? If she's not willing to invest, it's time to step back even more. Because when you show her that your life doesn't revolve around her, that you have your own worth, that's when she'll start wondering if she's the one losing out. Now, let's talk about what happens inside her mind when you stop chasing. This is where Neil Strauss really gets into the psychology that most guys miss. When a woman senses that you're no longer desperate for her attention, something shifts in her emotional landscape. Suddenly, she notices you in a new way. She starts to feel the tension that was missing before, the tension that fuels desire. It's not about punishment or playing games. It's about presence and absence working together, like yin and yang. When you're always there, she feels secure, but that security can sometimes turn into boredom. When you step back, even just a little, it triggers her instinctual need to pursue and protect. This dynamic goes back thousands of years. Attraction is wired into our biology, and it thrives on balance, push and pull, coming together and pulling apart. By stopping the chase, you give her space to come forward. Think about a time when you felt a spark for someone. Chances are, it wasn't when they were glued to you every second. It was when there was a little mystery, a little uncertainty. You were curious, interested, maybe even a bit challenged. The same is true for her. When you chase, you remove mystery. You become predictable, maybe even boring. But when you step back and live your life fully, you become unpredictable, exciting, and intriguing. And here's a crucial detail. She's not running back to the same guy who was begging and chasing. She's running back to the man who values himself, who is confident, who has standards. She's running back to a man who knows his worth. Neil Strauss calls this transformation being a man of value. It means you don't lower your standards or sacrifice your dignity to keep someone around. Instead, you raise your standards, and the right person will meet you there. But this takes patience and self-awareness. You have to resist the urge to check your phone constantly or send one more message. You have to trust that your value will speak louder than your desperation. And it will. There's also something powerful about absence that many men underestimate. When you step back, it gives her the chance to reflect on the connection. Without your constant presence, She starts to notice what she misses, the way you made her laugh, the way you made her feel seen, the little things that made her heart race. Sometimes she only realizes your worth when she doesn't have you right in front of her. And that's when she starts running back. But remember, this only works if you've already established a genuine connection. If your relationship was built on chasing, manipulation, or dishonesty, stepping back won't create attraction. It will just end things faster. That's why the foundation has to be real. You have to be authentic, vulnerable, and honest. You have to be the kind of man who shows up with integrity and respect. When you combine that authenticity with a confident, independent mindset, you become unstoppable. And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to chase anymore because she will want to chase you. You become the prize, not the pursuer. That's the essence of Neil Strauss's message. It's not about changing her mind or forcing feelings. It's about changing yourself and your approach. So, if you've been stuck in the cycle of chasing, take a deep breath. Step back. Focus on your own life, your own happiness. Cultivate your passions, build your confidence, and set clear boundaries. Because when you do, something incredible happens. You break free from neediness. You start attracting the kind of woman who values you and respects you. And if she's meant to be in your life, she'll come running back. Let's address a big question that's on every guy's mind. How long do you wait before she comes back? Because stopping the chase doesn't mean disappearing forever or giving up on the connection. It means creating healthy space while staying engaged in your own life. Neil Strauss teaches that timing is everything. When you pull back, you don't want to overdo it. Because if you vanish completely without a trace, she might assume you're gone for good. The key is to find that balance between absence and presence, where you're living your life fully, but also open to reconnecting when the moment feels right. This means you don't bombard her with messages, but you also don't ignore her completely. You show you respect your own time and boundaries, and you give her the chance to step up and show interest. Remember, attraction thrives on emotional tension. That tension builds when there's a little distance, a little mystery, and a sense that your time is valuable. When you hold space for that, you create a magnetic pull that draws her in. But there's something even more important beneath all this. The reason she comes running back isn't just because you stopped chasing. It's because you became a man of worth, a man who doesn't beg or plead for love, but who attracts it effortlessly because of who he is. That transformation is the real secret. And here's the truth. No one wants to chase a man who doesn't chase himself. If you're constantly running after her, you're showing that you don't have control over your own life. But when you have your own goals, your own passions, and your own social circle, you demonstrate self-mastery. This self-mastery is incredibly attractive. It signals that you're reliable, strong, and emotionally stable. It creates trust and desire, which are the foundations of lasting attraction. So, stop obsessing over every message or every sign. Stop trying to decode her every word or action. Instead, focus on becoming the man who commands respect, from himself first and then from everyone else. Now, here's another angle that many guys overlook. Sometimes chasing is a symptom of low self-esteem or fear of being alone. When you recognize that, you can start healing those wounds instead of masking them with endless texting or grand romantic gestures. Neil Strauss talks a lot about inner work, the process of becoming whole inside so you don't need someone else to fill your gaps. This inner work creates a magnetic energy that women naturally gravitate toward. When you do the work to love yourself and build your own life, you don't just stop chasing. You become the kind of man who others want to chase. And that's when the tables turn. She starts wondering what she did wrong. She starts realizing what she's been missing. She starts wanting to be part of your world, not because you begged, but because you've become someone worth pursuing. That's the power of stepping back and owning your worth. It's not easy. It takes courage to let go of control and trust the process. But the payoff is worth it, not just in relationships, but in every area of your life. Let me take a moment to talk about a common mistake guys make when they try to stop chasing. They confuse stepping back with ghosting, or shutting down emotionally. That's not what Neil Strauss advises. It's not about disappearing or playing cold and indifferent. It's about showing up with genuine value, just on your own terms. You want to be present in a way that respects your time and energy, not in a way that drains you or makes you desperate. That means you're engaged, but you're not hooked. You care, but you don't depend. You communicate, but you don't plead. This balance creates intrigue because it shows emotional strength. Women feel that strength. It's a beacon that draws them closer, even if they don't immediately understand why. Another critical piece is understanding your own emotions. When you chase, it's usually because of anxiety, insecurity, or fear of loss, but those feelings are your own responsibility to manage, not hers. Neil Strauss points out that a man who masters his emotions is far more attractive than one who is ruled by them. This mastery allows you to be calm, composed, and confident, even in the face of uncertainty. Think about it. When a woman senses that you're stable and grounded, it calms her nervous system too. It builds trust. It opens the door to deeper connection. So, instead of chasing to fix your fears, use the space to work on yourself. Build resilience. Develop hobbies, friendships, skills. This growth not only distracts you from obsessive thoughts, but also makes you more interesting and desirable. And here's a truth many men don't want to hear. Sometimes she might not come running back. Sometimes the space you create reveals that she wasn't the right one. But that's not a failure. That's a gift. Because when you stop chasing, you're not just waiting for her. You're opening the door to someone better. Someone who respects your boundaries, values your worth, and reciprocates your energy. That mindset shift changes everything. You go from a man desperate for love to a man who commands respect. You stop begging for attention and start demanding it naturally. You move from chasing to attracting. That's the transformation Neil Strauss highlights in his work. Becoming a man who doesn't settle, doesn't beg, and doesn't chase. A man who is whole, complete, and magnetic. And when you embody that, you don't have to worry about losing her, because if she's the right one, she'll come running back. Now, as you step into this new way of being, where you stop chasing and start living your own life with confidence, you'll notice something powerful happening. You'll no longer be consumed by the need for her attention because you've reclaimed your emotional power. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more in control. And ironically, this is the moment she'll start to notice you more than ever. This is the magnetic energy that Neil Strauss talks about. The energy of a man who values himself so highly that he doesn't settle for less, who knows his worth and refuses to chase after someone who doesn't see it. This energy isn't about arrogance or ego. It's about deep self-respect and authenticity. When you embody this energy, you don't just change how she sees you, you change how you see yourself. And that's the true key to attraction. So, if you're tired of chasing, tired of feeling like you're always the one running after her, it's time to change your game. Stop chasing, start living. Become the man she can't help but run back to. Because when you stop chasing, you don't lose, you win. And here's where I want to hear from you. What part of this message hit you the most? Are you ready to stop chasing and start living on your own terms? Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this video gave you value, don't forget to like, share it with a friend who needs this, and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming content where we dive deep into mastering attraction, confidence, and real connection. Remember, transformation starts with one choice, the choice to stop chasing and start owning your worth. Thanks for being here, for listening, and for taking this step with me. The journey is just beginning, and I'm excited to see where it takes you.